Okay, so um, we need to talk about this awful news out of Hempfield Township, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it's the Swarner family tragedy,
Yeah,
and
right.
and we're going to deep dive into this today.
Yeah.
You sent over some news reports for us to look at, and
Yeah,
it's it's really heavy stuff. So I think we need to be sensitive as we try to understand everything.
absolutely. I think it's really important to remember that behind these news stories, there are real people who are grieving this horrible loss.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so um, for those who might not know about this case, on January 24th. Paul and Karen Swarner and their two kids,
Right.
ages 5 and 1,
Mm-hmm.
were found dead in their home.
Yeah.
What do we know about what happened?
So the authorities are investigating it as a murder-suicide
Okay.
with Paul Swarner suspected of killing his family and then himself.
Wow.
And they found a .22 Ruger at the scene, which they believe was the weapon.
It's just chilling, especially when
Yeah.
you consider that Karen had a totally normal conversation
Right.
with someone the day before.
I know.
Like no warning signs,
Yeah.
no indication that anything was wrong.
Yeah. It's these types of details that really complicate these cases,
Yeah.
It challenges the idea that there are always warning signs before something like this happens,
Right.
because so often there aren't.
And then you add in the fact that Paul's parents tried to reach them on Thursday,
Oh, yeah.
and then Karen's father actually made the 911 call later that night.
Right, those unanswered calls and just that frantic search for answers.
Yeah.
That's a common part of these stories,
Yeah.
It really shows that growing concern that turns into just absolute horror.
I think what I find really strange, and I'm
Mhm.
sure a lot of our listeners do too,
Yeah.
is that there's no record of any domestic violence
Yeah.
or any problems with this family.
Yeah, it's a common thing we see.
Yeah.
And it really raises the question, do we ever really know what's going on behind closed doors?
Yeah.
Like, things can look fine from the outside.
Yeah.
And families might be under so much pressure, but try to keep up a normal appearance.
Right.
Yeah.
All the news reports are painting this picture of like the all-American family, you know? Like there are photos and stuff that suggest they were really happy.
Right.
It's just so hard to understand how that could be true after this happened.
Yeah. It shows you that sometimes struggles are hidden.
Right.
We tend to focus on the problems that we can see,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's the stuff that's hidden that causes these horrible events.
So where is the investigation at now? Do the police have any idea why this happened?
They're still investigating and trying to figure out a motive.
Okay.
They're looking at footage from a baby camera in the home,
Okay.
hoping it might show something that set Paul off.
Okay.
It takes time, but, every detail is important when trying to understand something like this.
I know at the press conference, Trooper Steve Lamani said something that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
He talked about how devastated the community is and how badly everyone wants answers, especially because this happened during the holidays.
Yeah, what's interesting is that he connected the holidays to mental health.
Right.
It reminds us that even though the holidays are supposed to be happy,
Yeah.
they can be really stressful and hard for some people.
It makes you think we should maybe be more aware of what other people are going through,
Absolutely.
especially during times when they're supposed to be happy.
Yeah, and this case really shows us how important mental health awareness is.
Mm.
If you or someone you know is struggling, please reach out for help.
Yes.
There are people who want to help, and there are resources available.
This is just heartbreaking.
It is.
There's so many questions and so much sadness.
Yeah.
It reminds us that even when things look perfect on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
people might be struggling.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder if this could have been prevented.
Yeah.
Like what signs should we be looking for as a community?
Right.
That's something I really hope our listeners will think about.
Yeah, me too.